All right, this is our after-school review on Monday. AP test is on Wednesday. So for tomorrow in class, we are going to do the civil rights movement. That won't take us long to get through. I want to go back through and do more on the civil rights movement after the AP test. I don't want you guys to think that I think that that's an appropriate way to handle the civil rights movement, doing it in a day. But we got to get through. We got to get through the things you might have to write an essay about. That would be civil rights movement and end of the Cold War, like late Cold War stuff, would be probably the last of the essay stuff that you would have to write on. I've seen one FRE choice once on Nixon and Watergate, so that's 1972, 1973. But you're not going to have anything outside of that. At least I've never seen it, and it would be just out of left field. So I mean, I've never seen anything like it that late. So tonight, for homework, I'm not giving you any homework. Just watch anything that you need to watch online as far as catch up. The one on the Vietnam War, I think I call it a crash course on the Vietnam War. That one I think is a beneficial one to watch. How many people watched that one? Would you guys, just for a nod, would you say it's worth watching? Yeah.
That wasn't like what you did in class on Friday. It was more than that.
It was more than that. So what I did is, that's a great question. The question is the Vietnam crash course that's on YouTube, is it more than I did in class on Friday? I actually briefly recapped what we talked about on Friday, and then I went above and beyond and finished it. So it's worth seeing. The important concept reviews from 1945 to 1975 is a really good... Shut up! Is a really important one to... I don't want to close the door, it's so hot. So 1945 to 1975 is a worthwhile one to watch. It is 40 minutes long, but it's there. And then there's the one on the Great Awakening and the Second Great Awakening. It's just okay. Hi. So tomorrow, sometime between now and Wednesday, between now and Wednesday, I need you to just do the crash course review number 44. So I want you to actually watch John Green, and I just need you to do crash course review number 44. I'll tell you this tomorrow in class as a reminder, but it is the very last one. It is over Gerald R. Ford, Jimmy Carter, and into Reagan, okay? It's just going to go over how the economy sucks, and it'll go over how conservatism makes a rise. That's kind of a trend that we'll see. If we're looking at like from 1900 onward, 1900, is 1900 to 1915 a more liberal or more conservative time period? Liberal. Why liberal? Yeah, it's progressivism. So let me say it again. 1900 to 1915 is a pretty liberal time period. It's the progressive era. They're doing a lot of progressive liberal stuff. 1920 to 1929. Conservative, that's the roaring 20s. The government's hands off. They are not regulating businesses. Yeah. Hardcore hands off. Was that Harding, Coolidge, and Hoover? Hardcore hands off. Do you guys see that? Harding, Coolidge, Hoover. Hardcore hands off. Then 1933 to basically 1941. More liberal. It's the New Deal. Yeah, it's more liberal. Hi. Come on in. You guys got that? Harding, Coolidge, Hoover. Hardcore, hands off. Huh? That's the best acronym we've had so far. Oh, no way. Junior and... Huh? Yeah, income to senators with wine and linen. All right. Yeah. Oh, what is number 42? Does it say... Ford. Sorry, it's 42. Thank you. Oh, that would have been bad. 42. It's the very last one you have. It's the last one. So, but sometime between now and Wednesday, I need you to do crash course number 42. It's the last one. Please do it. It would be worth your time. We're not going to spend much time on it. As far as today goes, I was thinking about going back to going back to colonial times, doing stuff with important colonial dates, differences between the different colonial regions. I think it's a way back far one. I'm going to have to get out my own notes. I haven't reviewed a ton of it myself because I've been busy making videos for you guys and stuff. That just sounds weird. Recording my lectures for just Snapchats for you guys. Should I make a Snapchat of myself freaking out tonight or tomorrow night? I don't know. I'm sick right now. I literally have gotten myself sick because I'm not worried. I'm not worried. I just want to make sure that everything that we could possibly do gets done for you guys. All about you, not about me. All right. So.
Doesn't that mean you're worried though?
What?
You want to make sure we get everything done. Like you're worried over.
No. I'm saying I'm not worried. I want to make sure that when you guys go into the test, that I can say, wow, everything in my possible power, I've done. And then that way, you guys can say, well, Mr. Epler gave it his all, and then you guys can say, well, we gave it our all, or some of you can be like, I didn't give it my all. And then at least you have yourself to blame. It won't be like that, but I don't know, I'm just that type of person, yeah.
What time does it start?
8 a.m. 8 a.m. If you guys want, we can do, if you guys want to get here early, I will gladly neglect my first hour class in
Bagels and Red Bull.
Yeah.
Bagels and Red Bull. I can get food for you guys. I don't mind doing that on Wednesday. If you guys want to come a little early, have a little mini review session from 7 a.m. to 7:40. You guys want to do that?
Yeah, morning.
Huh? Why? If you don't come then. Okay. All right. Let's go through some of this stuff. How about we go through the colonies? Sorry, recording, you're going to have to search for it for a second. I want to find, where are you? Aha. Okay, let's do the colonial stuff. I have all my colonial notes in this Barron's book. Although this Barron's book, does anyone have this Barron's book? It's not that great. It's green, it's not that great. Don't get it going forward. Yeah, don't get it 2 days before the test. It does have okay stuff on the colonies though. All right. So, are we good to go with the colonies? Can we go back to there? Okay.
Does it start with
Huh? Well, I'm going to go all the way back and do 5 minutes, just 5 minutes of Christopher Columbus and the first settlers. But you're not going to have to write an essay about that. There's not going to be an essay on talk about Christopher Columbus and his experience with the airwax. This is just like multiple choice stuff. The first real FREs that I could possibly see you guys getting is on like different regions in colonial America. So that would be the British, what we call the British mainland colonies. So, but let's go a little bit further back just to do it. So here is Canada. This is going to be the United States, which is still part of Canada at the time. Here is Mexico, going down here. And then here's South America, which is going to go down. So this is South America. Let's see. This is Florida. Here's and Canada is up there. All right. Do you guys see this? It's pretty good, I think. All right. Columbus. When Columbus lands in 1492, he's landing in here, right? He's landing in what is present day, I think it's like the Dominican Republic, essentially, Haiti, that region. And he meets the airwax. From there, Columbus is representing which country? Spain, okay? From there, they jump over into here. This is where the Aztecs are, for the most part. They first encountered the Aztec Empire, and the leader of the Aztec Empire is Montezuma. So they see Mr. Montezuma. There's a couple different ways of spelling it. If you see it as like with a C, like M-O-C-T, Moctezuma, don't worry, it's the same person. I don't know why he's got a couple different spellings, but you won't probably. They'll probably spell it like that. So he meets Montezuma. The guy who is Columbus does not conquer Montezuma. Columbus is the first guy who discovers this. He still thinks that when Columbus dies, he still thinks that he has discovered like islands off the coast of India. That's why they call them Indians. I think we've talked about that. The guy who takes down Montezuma, so I'm going to put a little arrow down, he takes down Montezuma. Actually, let's do it this way. Takes down Montezuma is Cortez. Does that name ring a bell? Cortez. His name's Hernan Cortez. He leads a party of conquistadors. That's another word that you should know. Conquistadors are Spanish people that are conquering Native Americans. And they, through disease and war and guns and stuff, they take down them. Then they migrate down into here, so that's why all of these places are Spanish-speaking, right? South America and Central America, because that's where New Spain. This was called Nueva España, or New Spain. Just so you guys know, New Spain. The next group of people that are going to arrive are the French, right? The first French people sailed down through here. What's that? St. Lawrence Seaway, I think is what it is. You don't gotta really know that guy's name, but you need to know that the French are trading. This is French, and they're trading with Native Americans. They're friendlier with Native Americans. They get along with Native Americans. They are trading furs. There's a greater mixing of cultures between the French and the Native Americans. We call that, when you have more mixing between French and Native Americans, acculturation, acculturation, acculturation. It literally means that, like, your cultures are mixing. Another way that you could say this is, what's another word? Assimilation, I guess you could say. Mixing culture, a mixing of cultures. The word that the French use for the French that marry Native Americans is métis. I don't know where the accent is. I think it's over the I. Métis. In Spain, by the way, New Spain, not in Spain, but in New Spain, these are called mestizos, M-E-S-T-I-Z-O-S, mestizos. These are mixes between Indians and pure Spanish-blooded people. And it creates, by the way, still to this day, in parts of South America and Central America, depending on where your lineage comes down, if you've had a lot of mixing or not, you kind of fall differently on the social classes. It still kind of exists. So then the first British settlers are landing in here. The first ones are going to be here in Virginia. That's a really terrible Virginia, but that's where they're going to be. You get settlements here in Plymouth, and then we're going to go into the colonies. Can I just go into the colonies from here? Okay. That's our little quick blip. Any questions on that? Brennan?
Pizarro, he was with the Incans. I think he was Spanish too, right?
Yeah, so Francisco Pizarro, he's the guy who's going to conquer the Inca down here in South America. Question?
Who was their ruler?
Who was their ruler? I don't know. It starts with a Q. It's Q-Klops or something. I don't know. I've never seen his name on an AP test, but it's a very weird looking name. If it starts with a Q, it's probably the Incan ruler. Maybe it's in here. Let's see if I can. Oh, one more thing. That's very important. Actually, two more things. This exchange between New World and Old World, when we talk about ideas, goods, cultural stuff, diseases, what's that called? Columbian Exchange. Do you remember that? The Columbian Exchange. Columbian Exchange. It's the exchange of goods, ideas, people, food, culture, diseases, religions, all this stuff, all the stuff that's exchanged between New World and Old World. New World, Old World. Mostly Europe, mostly Central, South, and mainland North America. Stuff that goes from let's see. All right, so things that go from here to here would be like horses, goats, cows, chickens, coffee, lettuce, wheat, and diseases. stuff that goes from the old world to the new world, or I'm sorry, from the new world to the old world would be like turkeys, corn, potatoes, tomatoes, that kind of stuff. Syphilis. It's not something you'd want to eat. Sorry, bad joke. Yes?
When would you say like the triangular trade with slavery started?
Oh, okay, so the triangular trade is different. Well, that's a good thing to talk about. The triangular trade deals with, and then Africa is going to be over here. So the triangular trade goes from here to here to here and up to here. It makes kind of a triangle. I didn't do it for enough over, but that would be, you see the triangle? And the triangular trade is going to be basically set up as I would say from basically mid-1600s onward, all the way through even past the American Revolution. We are still doing that triangular trade. And what it refers to is the trade of stuff from the colonies to Africa, to the Caribbean colonies and here and back. And so things that are coming from here are like gold and slaves. Things that are coming from here are like rum, sugar, molasses. So it can be turned into like things like rum. This is lumber. What else is going to come out here? Wool, things like that. And it's a trade network set up between the colonies, the Caribbean colonies, and Africa, which is going to mainly trade slaves is the big one, and gold is another. Yeah.
Isn't Europe in this one? I thought it's Europe and not the Caribbean. Yeah.
I got a picture of it right here. And
It says Europe.
Yeah.
Well, damn. All right. So where does it go from? The Caribbean is definitely involved.
Combine those two.
They combine the two steps.
Yeah.
So it's really a square. Which one did it skip?
you skipped Europe.
I get it skipped Europe. Which one did I add?
You added the Caribbean.
So the Caribbean they just combined with America? Alright, so here's Europe. There's Italy kicking Sicily. So, let's redraw this. Thank you, I apologize. If I could go back and erase my... I would, but okay. So, it's here, here, and here, essentially. But they're including this in here. Does the triangle have it going to the British colonies or to the Caribbean colonies?
It's kind of like right in the middle.
Because they didn't know where to put it?
Like, yeah.
Okay.
Kind of overlaps like on Africa. It's a weird angle.
Just a little weird angle. I apologize, people. I didn't mean to confuse you. Does everyone got that, though? I thought I had another one. There are two triangles.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
A weird one?
Yeah.
So mine has, so that,
Pretty right.
I think there are. I think there's one like this, and I think there's another one like this. So it really is, there's a triangle here and a triangle here. It doesn't matter. Just the triangle trade, what you need to know is the exchange of goods between Europe, the New World colonies, and Africa. That's
Mr.
basically.
Sierra, if you're in the building, could you please contact the main office? Mr. Sierra, please contact the main office.
All right. The next one that I want you guys to know, the one last thing that I want you to know about the interaction is the encomienda system. Do you guys remember that? The encomienda system? That would just be a multiple choice thing. But this is the term ENCOMIENDA, encomienda. This is like the plantation system that was implemented in New Spain. So this is a plantation system implemented in New Spain colonies. They were using mostly Native Americans as the essentially slave workers. And then they're going to also begin introducing slaves in there as well. Do you guys remember the encomienda system? Anything I need else to say about that, or are we good? Okay, let's go through our colonies. And let's hope Mr. Epler doesn't make any more mistakes. Although I don't think I made a full-on mistake. I think it was like a semi-mistake. Can we at least call it so I save face? All right. You know what I realized watching some of those videos that I post online, like, I'm more careful about what I say and how I say it now. It's good. I learned from watching myself teach. All right, so 1607 is Jamestown. I know you guys understand that, but it's an important date. People you need to be familiar with. People you need to be familiar with Jamestown. Let's go through them. 1, John Rolfe. Actually, let's go back. Let's go all the way back. Let's go all the way back to who's the founder of the Jamestown colony? Smith. Good. He's going to be considered the first governor of Jamestown, John Smith. He's the first governor. John Rolfe is the guy that introduces what? Yeah, ROLFE, tobacco. The Native Americans they encountered here are the how do you spell it? Powhatan Indians. It might be an O. Powhatan Indians. If you had that, you were close enough. It's a bad relationship. This is not a good relationship. We're going to put an angry, that's an awkward face. How do you do an angry, oh, I got it. Angry face. It's kind of angry, right? Sort of? I don't know. All right. Tobacco is going to be the first major crop. They're also going to begin starting to import slaves, but mainly indentured servants, and these indentured servants are going to become increasingly more and more angry over the generations that they have the worst bits of land, and this kind of culminates in 1676 in, yeah, that's in the Virginia colony. Okay. Here's another significant event. The first colonial government, representative government, is set up in Jamestown called the Virginia House of Burgesses. Is it how do you spell that? Yeah, I had it right, Burgesses. The Virginia House of Burgesses starts in 1620. So the same year that Plymouth is founded, Plymouth Colony, the Virginia House of Burgesses is starting up in Virginia. All right? Any questions on that? It's a good question. Yeah. Yeah, so it's the first representative colonial government. First representative colonial government. Sometimes it'll be called the first legislative body in British North America. Another question? Was it the same question that you had? Okay. All free adult men could vote for representatives. This body's going to still be around, although it kind of evolves. It's going to be around leading up to the American Revolution, so it's kind of a big deal. All right. By 1700, just so you guys can get an understanding, you don't have to memorize this number, but by 1700, the American colonies are producing 35 million pounds of tobacco. So we're talking, I don't know, how can we remember 35 million? I don't. 1700 and 7 times 5 is 35? That's not a bad way to do it. Yeah, so by 1700, 35 million pounds of tobacco are coming out of here. That's a lot. Now, as more and more tobacco is being produced here and in other places, what happened? What's that cause? Yeah, so I'd say lung cancer. Well played, sir. That does, but what about the price of tobacco? It goes down. So that's gonna kind of be one of the factors that's also going to cause tension. The prices of tobacco are going down, 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 and you got to grow. So in order to make up for that, what do you got to do? If I could grow 10 pounds and make $10, but now I got to grow 20 pounds to make $10, you have to grow more of it, right? So how are you going to grow more of it? Yeah, so it's going to cause you to, grow bigger and bigger plantations, and you're going to rely more on slave labor. That should make sense. It's kind of like a logical thing. Maryland. Let's talk about Maryland. Let's do them in order, actually. Let's not do Maryland first. Do you want to do them by region, or you want to do them by order they were founded? Order. Okay, that's what I figured. All right. Order. Next one. 1620. Plymouth. 1620 by Plymouth. And I'm actually going to grab one more thing. So 1620 Plymouth. Who's the person that founds Plymouth Colony? It is William Bradford. William Bradford. Do you guys remember that guy's name? Well, you should. Hold on. Yeah, no, it's Massachusetts Bay. Hold on. Okay. This is why being organized, guys, is a good thing. I could just pull out all my note cards from the beginning of the year, and they're all in order. All right. So, William Bradford. The ship that lands these people. The Mayflower. Were you going to say the Nina Pinto and Silver? No, it's not. It's the Mayflower. I heard a really terrible joke the other day. It was like I was looking online for AP study materials. Can I tell you a terrible joke? It's so bad. So it's really bad. It's really bad. I don't even feel 100% comfortable making this joke. Matter of fact, can I mute this? I don't think I can.
No, mute it and then you turn it off so we can all laugh.
So I can't pause it. So I think the joke goes, if April showers bring May flowers, what do May flowers bring? And disease and death to Native Americans. That was the joke. It's pretty bad. So you guys get it? April showers bring May flowers. What do May flowers bring? Syphilis and typhoid and yellow fever and... Never mind. Okay. All right, so the Mayflower. Another significant thing, Mayflower Compact. Mayflower Compact. Who is that? So the Mayflower is a ship. Mayflower Compact. Signed before the settlers get off. Before the settlers called what, by the way? The Pilgrims. Yeah, they are Puritans. They're Puritans that want to purify the Protestant Church of any Catholic rituals and anything like that. Yeah.
What's the difference between Pilgrims and Puritans?
Watch the very, very. I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I did, but I didn't do it I didn't record it. Real quick, I'll just do it one more time so I make sure
No, you definitely recorded that.
I was on the recording?
Definitely.
Okay.
Just sing it again.
Just real quick. Did you watch it? I messed it up really bad on the recording if I did. So here it is, just real fast. Puritans wanted to purify, like after the Protestant Reformation, where we get the split in churches. Puritans want to purify the Protestant Church of any Catholic rituals and things like that. Because if you guys remember back, did we say it was King Henry VIII? Yeah, he really didn't make that many changes to the Protestant Church. He just wanted his marriage annulled, right? And so Puritans want to purify. But then you get some Puritans that don't think that they've gone far enough. So then you get what they call the separatists that want to separate entirely. They want to separate entirely from the Catholic Church and form their own new church. The separatists wind up going I don't know, did we ever look up, I don't think we looked up the country. I think it's Norway, I think is what we decided. They go on a little journey, and they don't like it there. They're facing ridicule. And so what these separatists do is some of them decide to take a ship to the New World. And this ship to the New World are called, the people on this ship are called pilgrims. Pilgrims. The pilgrims make the pilgrimage to the New World. And these people are the people that land in Plymouth. So yes, They are Puritans. They're also separatists, but they're the pilgrims that took this voyage. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Okay. I butchered it the other day when I was doing it. All right. So things that the Plymouth colony is mainly centered around is religion. They're Puritans. Puritans. And the people who are going to be descendants of the Puritans, they're going to form, this is going to transition into the Congregational Church. Watch the YouTube video on the difference between the First Great Awakening, Second Great Awakening. I go over the Congregational Church. It's a good one to watch. Congregational Church. When I say the Congregational Church, I mean you have a church with a priest or a pastor or a preacher, and then their congregation that attends there. The Congregational Church is an established church, meaning that the colonists pay taxes, and the taxes go to the church. The church gets tax money, yeah.
Was it Mayflower Country?
Oh, yeah, I didn't even say what that was, did I? It's the first, it's the first social contract. First social contract in the in the colonies. A social contract is a form of a primitive constitution. It's an agreement between people. This is how we're going to behave. These are going to be the laws we follow. This is going to be the thing. And the Mayflower is the first social contract. It's essentially a primitive constitution. And it's signed before they get off the boat. Does that make sense? Does that answer your question? All right, pilgrims, religion, congregational church. Things that the economy is based on is mostly it's a subsistence community. It's a colony that lives on subsistence living. It's not large-scale farming. They're not producing tobacco to export. But the things that they do wind up having an abundance of is fish, furs, which they're trading a lot with the French and the Native Americans for, and lumber. Fish, furs, and lumber is the materials and raw goods that they're going to have available to them and to trade and extra of. Second one, Massachusetts Bay, 1630. This is called the City on a Hill. Not because it's on a ginormous hill or mountain peak, but it's the city. It's supposed to be the ideal Puritan city. The ideal Puritan city is what it's supposed to be. The guy who founds it is John Winthrop. John Winthrop. It would be really good to associate these people with these colonies if you could do it. John Winthrop. It has 20,000 people within 10 years. So by 1640, it's going to have 20,000 people in its first 10 years. That's really successful. Yeah, Justin.
Didn't he also create like either New Jersey or Rhode Island for like?
No, that's Roger Williams. So I'll draw it out for you guys. But you need to know that the two most religious colonies, the two most religious Puritan colonies are going to be Plymouth and Massachusetts Bay. The other ones that form afterwards are going to be a little less religious. Rhode Island, right? Little less religious. Connecticut, a little less religious. The two biggest religious centers are Massachusetts Bay and Plymouth. And when we talk about the Salem witch trials, do you guys remember the Salem witch trials? 1692? Is it 1692? That happens in the Massachusetts Bay. It's in Salem, yeah. That's Catholics. Yeah. So Maryland. I'm going to get there. So, yeah, Maryland is Lord Baltimore, and it's set up as a refuge for Catholics. But you're also right by saying Christians. They're just a little broader. All right. You guys got to go. That's fine. It's fine. All of the rest of it online. Right now we are at 34 minutes. So right now just know in your head 34 minutes in, you guys skipped in. All right. Rhode Island is 1636 and Connecticut is the same year. Is that right? Rhode Island and Connecticut are the same year? Are my notes wrong? Let's find out. 1636. What about Connecticut? Oh yeah, 1636. They're the same year. And New Hampshire as well as in 1641. Okay. So, Rhode Island and Connecticut, 1636 is both of these. You don't have to memorize it. Don't try and memorize the exact dates, but you should know that 1607 is Jamestown, absolutely, and between 1620 and 1640 are these New England region colonies. Connecticut. People that you should associate with each of these two. Rhode Island is Roger Williams. Are they talking about green emergency? Roger Williams. Another lady that you should know, another gal you should know from Rhode Island is Anne Hutchinson. Do you remember her? Look her up. She's excommunicated from Massachusetts Bay. She winds up in Rhode Island. She's preaching this radical idea that, you didn't have to be a man to preach the word of God. Nuts, I know, crazy. She's excommunicated for it. She was holding, basically church services in her living room. Well, in her one room of her house, probably. Connecticut, the guy that you need to know is Thomas Hooker. It's an easy one to remember. Thomas Hooker. And the first written constitution comes out of Connecticut. First written constitution. Do you guys remember what that's called?
Fundamental orders.
Yeah. They're called the Fundamental Orders of Connecticut. It's the first written constitution. The last one that's going to be founded is New Hampshire. You don't need to know the date. It's much later. It's originally part of Massachusetts Bay. So New Hampshire, that rounds out the New England colonies. Let's do southern colonies. Southern ones. First one's Jamestown. We already did. I guess I should keep going in order, shall we? Second one, the next one for the southern colonies is Maryland. Maryland, 1634. It is originally set up as a refuge for Catholics, we're going to put but, it quickly diversifies. It quickly gets diverse. They allow not just Catholics to come there, they allow more people to be there. They passed one of the first Freedom of Religion Acts. It's called the Act of Religious Toleration. The Maryland Act of Religious Toleration. All Christians are welcomed. And their economy is based on, much like the economy of Virginia, tobacco. Yeah, all Christians are welcome. Yeah, can't be Muslim there. But Christianity they're fine with. Alright. Ooh, hey, real quick. Going way back to the New France thing when I was talking about those people, the guy that's associated with this, the establishment of the first real successful colony in New France is Quebec. That's the guy's name. Does that make sense? Because, Quebec's pretty. Oh no, Quebec's not the guy's last name. It's Samuel de Champlain. There's no way. Yeah, it's Lake Champlain is named after the guy. Samuel de Champlain is who founds Quebec. All right. We're almost done with this. So we did those two. Pennsylvania, New York, Delaware. All right. The next two colonies are going to be the Carolinas. And they eventually will split into North and South Carolina. The Carolinas are originally established in the 1660s, 1663, so they're a little bit later. And they are going to first be growing, the big thing is rice. Rice is the big one. Another product is indigo. And later, they're going to be growing lots of cotton. Rice, indigo, and later cotton. The very last one, which we didn't talk about, is the buffer zone. Do you remember it? Georgia. It's a buffer zone between Spanish territory in Florida and the Carolinas. It is established in the 1730s, 1732. That's way later. It's crazy to think about, but Georgia was established less than 50 years before the Revolution. There wasn't a whole lot of people living in Georgia before the American Revolution. People from North Carolina is going to grow a lot of tobacco. It's more like Virginia and Maryland. South Carolina is going to be more of the deep south, where they're going to be growing rice and later cotton. That should make sense too, because like South Carolina, we hear a lot more about as far as like rebelling against, they're the first state to secede from the Union. They try to nullify the tariffs. South Carolina is kind of a hotbed of anger for a lot throughout U.S. history. All right. Middle colonies. You ready to do the middle colonies? We'll do these quickly. Middle colonies. Middle colonies, middle colonies, middle colonies. First middle colony is New York. So these are all the middle colonies. New York. New York is founded in the 1660s. Is when it becomes, that's actually when it becomes a British colony. Before that, do you remember who founded New York? The Dutch. The Dutch, yeah, the Dutch. It used to be called New Amsterdam. Before this it was New Amsterdam. And it was Dutch. The person that creates New York is the Duke of York, is who names it after he reconquers it. It's very diverse. New York is diverse. And it also becomes a trading hub. Originally it was trading furs, but then it's going to grow to trade a lot of different things. Next one is New Jersey. 2 is New Jersey. There's not a lot about New Jersey. This is 1702. It was just broken off as a part of New York. Delaware. No, that's Rhode Island. That is... Which one's broken off of? Is New Jersey broken off of?
Wait, probably the Duke to like give his friend?
No, New Jersey's broken off of New York. What's broken off of Pennsylvania?
Delaware?
Is it Delaware? Yeah, it is Delaware. You win. You win, Casey. So Delaware is broken off of Pennsylvania. Delaware is it's 1704. Not that you have to remember that date. It used to be part of Pennsylvania. Not much on that. And then the big one is Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania and New York are the two big ones. Pennsylvania is established by William Penn in 1681. This is Quakers. Penn. They treat Native Americans better. Do you remember what the Quakers called their formal name? The Religious Society of Friends. So Quakers are also called the Religious, what a nice name, Society of Friends. You want to come to our church? I don't know. It's called the Religious Society of Friends. Okay. All right. Any other colonial stuff we want to talk about? Maybe the evolution of each? Let's see. Salem witch trials, Pennsylvania. Can I talk a little bit about the evolution of Pennsylvania real fast? Quickly. Can I read this to you guys? The primary destination of many immigrants from Europe was Pennsylvania. And I'm going to give you a list of, let's talk about what types of immigrants are coming to Pennsylvania. Many Germans are coming to Pennsylvania. Many Scottish and Irish immigrants are coming to Pennsylvania. And Irish immigrants are going to come a lot into Pennsylvania. A lot of farmers, artisans. Do we ever define the word artisan? A-R-T-I-S-A-N. It's people who make things with their hands. People that are handcrafters of things. By the 1720s, some farmers were settling beyond the crest of the Appalachian Mountains in the back country of Pennsylvania. So if we were to look at the United States, this is the Appalachian Mountains, like here, essentially. Pennsylvania is going to be, actually, they're a little bit further inward, probably here. Pennsylvania, my map's not perfect, but Pennsylvania is about there, if I pulled it up. Huh? I don't know, like, Washington got like a weird fatty tumor on the end of it or something. We get the first people start settling west of there. They're pushing. These are people that are pushing out the frontier. A lot of German immigrants are going to be doing this. Basically, what is today West Virginia. Some moved down into the back countries of North Carolina, South Carolina. These people, do you think they tend to feel more or less British than the people living on the East Coast? It's less. They tend to develop their own ideas about independence, and they tend to be more like individualists and that kind of thing. All right. Navigation Acts. Do you guys remember the Navigation Acts? Let's talk about that. Colonial America, the Navigation Acts. We're working up to the Revolution. Do you want to take a quick break? Let's take a quick break. Let's take a quick break. Come back in 4 minutes. We'll go to 4 o'clock. Yeah. No, we can fast forward. Should I turn it off and up? Yeah, I'll upload 2 videos. All right. So this is the one on colonialism. All right.